Welcome to Blame Another Draw. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a deck profiles on Lightsworn 50 card deck or plus. I don't actually remember how much is it. First things first, we're going to go with Raiden, Hand of the Lightsworn, 3 of them, and then 3 Lumina Lightsworn Summoner. And we'll be running 3 Wolf with a U, that's awesome, Lightsworn Beast. We also going to be running 2 Felis Lightsworn Archer. And we'll be running 1 Lightsworn, which is the Maiden, basically the same one. Mineria, something like that, and then 1 Lightsworn Warrior and 1 Lightsworn. I think it's this. I forgot that one. But the other one was Minerva. There you go, Minerva Piranha. What the hell's wrong with me? Now, first things first, we're gonna go with Leah Lightsworn Sorceress. You can target 1 spell tracker your opponent controls. This card's battle position cannot be changed until the end of the turn. Also, change these cards you control from face-up attack position to face-up defense position. And if you do, destroy that target. Once per turn during either player's turn, send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard. And then for the next one, we're gonna go with, I think it's Yugioh. Wow, I forgot the name of that one. We're gonna go with why can't I pronounce this little boy? Whatever. Each time a card is sent from your deck to your graveyard by effect of a Lightsworn monster you control, except whatever Lightsworn Warrior, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard and then draw 1 card for each Lightsworn monster from the graveyard sent to the graveyard by this effect. The next up, we're gonna go with Minerva Lightsworn Maiden. Lightsworn Maiden, of course, she is a level 3 tuner with a beautiful effect saying here that when this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 light dragon type monster from your deck to your hand whose level is less than or equal to the number of Lightsworn monsters with different names in your graveyard. If this card is sent from the hand from the hand or deck to the graveyard, send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard during each of your end phases. During each of your end phases? Oh my god, this is such an old card. Send the top 2 cards from the deck to the grave. Now we have Felis Lightsworn Archer, of course saying that cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a card effect. If this card is sent to the deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, special summon it. You can tribute this card, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy that target, then send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard. Of course, like I said, this deck is all about milling out every single little card you can as possible from your deck to the graveyard. And all these cards, especially her, like the Archer, are really good at doing that, so the draw power is not really needed. And then you have Wolf, the Lightsworn Beast. It says cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a card effect. If this card is sent from deck to the graveyard, special summon it. And then you have Lumina Lightsworn Summoner. Yes. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card, then target 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target. Once per turn during your end phase, send the top 3 cards from the deck to the graveyard. But of course, we're going to go directly to Raiden, the Hand of the Lightsworn. Being a level 4 warrior tuner effect, during your main phase, you can send the top 2 cards of your from your deck to the graveyard. Then if any Lightsworn monsters were sent in the graveyard by this effect, this card gains 200 attacks until the end of your opponent's turn. You can only use the effect of Raiden, Hand of the Lightsworn once per turn, and once per turn during your end phase, send the top 2 cards from your deck to the grave. Like I told you, milling out is all you do. So things like, for example, if you want to run as a side deck as something like Needlebug's Nest, use it, believe me, use it. It's a really good card. Anyways, and for the Twilightsworns, we have Lumina, the Twilightsworn Shaman, Rico, Twilight Fighter, and Jane, the Twilight General. Now the first one is Jane, Twilightsworn General. He says once per turn you can banish 1 light monsters from your hand or graveyard, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. It loses attack and defense equal to the banished monster's level by 300 until the end of this turn. Once per turn, if a Lightsworn monster's effect is activated, send the top 2 cards from the deck to the graveyard, which is an awesome effect as well. Then we have Rico, Twilightsworn Fighter, being the beast basically. If this card is normal summon or flip face up, you can banish 1 Lightsworn monster from your hand or graveyard, banish 1 card on the field. That is non-targeting, may I add. Once per turn, if your other Lightsworn monster's effect is activated, send the top 3 cards from the deck to the graveyard. Then we have Lumina Twilightsworn Shaman. Once per turn, you can banish 1 Lightsworn monster from your hand or graveyard, then target one of your banished Lightsworn monsters except Lumina, and of course special summon it once per turn. If your other Lightsworn monster's effect is activated, send the top 3 cards from the deck to the grave. Of course, we're running 3 of her since the consistency of her actually milling out in the end of the Lightsworn's effects. Yes, it's amazing, it works, it's perfect. And yeah guys, let's continue on for the Chaos Engine, being the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, 2 White Dragon Wyvern Busters, 1 Perform a Hat Trigger, 1 Perform Mage Damage Juggler, and 1 Perform Mage Trick Clown, and 1 Glow Up Bulb. Jesus, I need to breathe here and there. Now, 1 Honest being your attack booster. Now, Honest, what does he does? Of course, he's a level 4 light fairy monsters. During your main phase, you can return this face-up card on the field to the hand. Well, that doesn't matter because you're going to be using the next effect that says during either player's damage step, when a light monster you control battles, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Then monster gains attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster is battling until the end of this turn. Then you have Glow Up Bulb being the plant tuner here. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send the top card from your deck to your graveyard, and if you do special summon this card, you can only use the effect of Glow Up Curve once per duel, and that is a free body on the field. Perform Mage Trick Clown is the next one, being if this card is sent from to the graveyard, you can target 1 Perform Mage monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its attack and defense becomes 0. Then you take 1000 damage. You can only use the effect of Perform Mage Trick Clown once per turn, just giving you a body on the field, so you can XYZ, Synchro, and so on, but these are all a bundle. So of course, Perform Mage Hat Trigger being if 2 or more monsters are on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. During each player's turn, when a card effect is activated, you can do inflict damage to you. You can place 1 Perform Mage counter on this card, max 3, then make that effect damage to you 0. When the third Perform Mage counter is placed on this card, its attack and defense becomes 3300 attack. And you have Perform Mage Damage Juggler, being when this card is activated, that will inflict damage to you. Quick effect, you can discard 1 card, negate activation. If you do, destroy this card during the battle phase. Quick effect, destroy that card battle phase. Quick effect, you can discard this card, make the attack battle damage you would take up to 0. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Perform Mage monster from your deck to your hand, and accept Damage Juggler. You can only use the effect of this guy hard once per turn. Of course, the Perform Mage combo here, of course, giving you guys a combo off of adding more bodies into the field. But then you have, of course, Collapse Serpent and Wyvern Buster. Wyvern Buster complementing each other. Special summon Wyvern Buster by banishing 1 dark monster. Collapse Serpent special summoning 1 dark monster. And when they're both sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add the contrary of them back to your hand. For example, you send Collapse Serpent, you add Wyvern Buster. You have Wyvern Buster, you add Collapse Serpent. Eclipse Wyvern, and you have 2 Light Pulsar Dragons, 1 Dark Flare Dragon, and 2 Judgment Dragon, and then 1 Punishment Dragon. Punishment Dragon is going to be the least one you're going to be using here, but of course he's a pretty good card itself. Punishment Dragon reading its effect saying that you cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by possessing 4 or more banished Lightsworn monsters with different names. Once per turn, quick effect, you can pay 1000 life points, shuffle into the decks all cards in the graveyards and all face-up banished cards except Lightsworn monsters. Once per turn, if your Lightsworn monsters effect is activated, send the top 4 cards from your deck to the grave. But the one that's going to be giving you the combo of plays here is, of course, Judgment Dragon, being the best of the best. Cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon from your hand by having 4 or more Lightsworn monsters with different names in your graveyard. Pretty easy to do. You can pay 1000 life points, destroy all other cards in the field. Once per turn during the end phase, send the top 4 cards from your deck to the graveyard. Then we have Dark Flare Dragon. Reading its effect that you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 1 light and 1 dark monster from your graveyard. Once per turn, you can send 1 dragon type monster from your hand and then 1 dragon type monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then target 1 card in either player's graveyard, banish that target. And then you have Light Pulsar Dragon. Light Pulsar Dragon reading its effect that if you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 1 light and 1 dark monster from your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand from the graveyard as well by sending 1 light and 1 dark monster from your hand to the graveyard. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 level 5 or higher dark dragon type monster from your graveyard, special summon that target. Eclipse Wyvern here says if this card is sent to the graveyard, banish 1 level 7 or higher light or dark dragon type monster from your deck. If this card is in your graveyard is banished, you can add the monster that was banished by this effect to your hand. Fun fact, another ruling, if this card is sent to the graveyard twice, of course, then it's the same card. Guys, if you send 2 cards with this card, you can only add the last one that was sent there, not both of them. That would be ridiculous, and of course, it is a soft, it is a, not even a once per turn, I'm sorry. And then that is it for the Dragon Chaos Engine with the Judgment Dragons. We're going to be moving on for the spells and traps. And for the traps, we have a breakthrough skill, which I know this is gold rare, that's pretty. And then we have Beckoning Light, Solemn Warning. Sudden Warning, everyone knows what it does. When a monster will be special summoned, or when a spell tracker or effect monsters activate that includes the effect of special summons a monster, pay 2,000 life points, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. They have Beckoning Light, which I already said, that you can discard your entire hand. Then for each card you hit discarded to the graveyard by this effect, add 1 light monster. And then you have Breakthrough Skill. Everyone knows Breakthrough Skill. Target 1 face-up effect monster your opponent controls. Negate this effect until the end of this turn. And if this card is in the graveyard except the turn it was set there, you can banish this card in your turn, and you can negate the face-up effect of any effect monster your opponent controls. And then for the spells, you have Solar Recharge. You have 3 Charge of the Light Brigade, and then 2 Galaxy Cyclones. And then we have 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Card Destruction, and 1 Upstart Goblin, 1 Metaphors Fusion, and 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Dark World of Dealings. Now, Dark World of Dealings, when it does when each player draws 1 card and we both discard 1 card. And then Upstart Goblins will give your opponents 1,000 life points, you can draw 1 card. And then you have Heavy Metaphors Fusions. You can, if this card is in the graveyard, shuffle it back into your deck, and then you can draw 1 card,
giving you the versatility to add more draw power into your deck. Then you have Reinforcement of the Army, adding 1 warrior, level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand. Unfortunately, the card is still at 1. And you have Card Destruction, of course. In Mulligan, basically you or your opponent send their entire hand to the grave, and then you can draw cards equal to the cards that were sent to the grave by this effect. And then you have Foolish Burial. Of course, Foolish Burial is sending 1 monster from your deck to your graveyard. That is any monster. And of course, this is a mill deck, so it makes no sense if you would have run that card. You have Galaxy Cyclone. Target 1 spell tracker you on the field, destroy it during your main phase, except this turn that was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from the graveyard, then target 1 face out spell tracker card on the field, destroy it. You can use the effect of Galaxy Cyclone per turn. And if you're asking me, the reason you run this in your deck is because when it's sent to the graveyard, you can actually use the second effect to banish and destroy 1 face up spell and track card. Then you have Charge of the Light Brigade. It says send the top 3 cards from the deck to the graveyard, and 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monsters from your deck to your hand. Of course, another spell card that is not even on once per turn, that you can use it 3 times if you have your hand, which is a great card. And of course, that's why we run 3. And you have Solar Recharge. Discard 1 Lightsworn monster, draw 2 cards. Then you can send the top 2 cards from your deck to your graveyard. It is all about milling out and of course giving you draw power, but most than anything, milling out as much as possible from the top of your deck to the graveyard and giving your opponent no chance. And that is it for the spells and trap cards. And now let's go for the extra deck. We have 1 Curious of the Lightsworn Domain, 1 Decode Talker, and that's all for the links, of course. And then you have Decode Talker saying that if anything that targets this card, any card in the field, you can contribute 1 card this card points to, negate the activation, destroy it. And you have Curious the Lightsworn Dominion, of course, giving you the mill power that if it's link summon, you can send 1 card from your deck to your grave. And of course, the other one, which is if this card is sent from the deck to your graveyard by effect, you can, I think it was a mill out even more cards in there, which is just basically the best card you can use in Lightsworns. And you have 2 Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn, 1 Bujente Tsukuyomi, number 61 Fergalsaurus, I think I had a stroke, Dark Rebellion Extra Dragon. And of course, Dark Rebellion Extra Dragon being the card they're going to be using as a beater, detaching 1 material from this card, and you can target 1 card of the field, 1 monster in the field, you gain attack equal to the half of the current attack, and if it does, this card gains the lost attack of that monster. So basically, your opponent loses half, and you gain that half that he lost, giving your opponent, giving you an advantage before it comes to beaters. And you have number 61 Volcasaurus. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, and then you can target 1 face-up monster in your opponent controls, destroy that opponent's monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to your monster's original attack. And they have Bojente Tsukuyomi, 2 level 5 monster, and once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, send it to your entire hand for the graveyard minimum of 1, and if you do, draw 2 cards. And then when this card you control with this face-up card leaves the field because your opponent's card effect, you can target 4 Beast Warrior Blue monsters in your graveyard to a number. You're only going to use this for milling out, and that's it. So that is completely irrelevant for the rest of the effects. But then we have 2 Minervas, the Exalted Lightsworn, the best XYZ in this deck, giving you the power of this effect. Now, you can detach one material from these cards, send the top 3 cards from your deck to your graveyard, then draw cards equal to the number of Lightsworn cards sent to the graveyard by this effect. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card's owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can destroy cards on the field up to the number of Lightsworn sent to the graveyard by this effect, and you can only use the effect of Minerva, the Exalted Lightsworn, once per turn, being her a hard once per turn, but of course giving your opponent a very difficult decision when it comes to destroying or sending this card from the field to the grave, and basically obligating your opponent to use something like Call by the Grave or anything that banishes. And for the synchros, you have 1 Michael of the Arc Lightsworn, 1 Arcanite Magician, 1 Black Rose Dragon, and 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, and of course 1 Stardust Dragon. Now, of course, you can change these to whatever you want, but of course, Arcanite Magician giving you the destruction power of adding counters on this and gaining attack, but you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls for each target, and that is a soft, and that is not even on once per turn. But then you have Michael, once per turn you can pay 1,000 life points and target 1 card of the field, banish that target. When this card is destroyed, you can target any number of Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into your deck, and if you do, you gain 300 life points for each return card during each of your end phase. Then you have Black Rose Dragon. Then when this card is Secret Summon, you can destroy all cards of the field, and you have Stardust Spark Dragon, give you the effect of once per turn during each player's turn, which is quote-unquote a quick effect. You can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls once during this turn. It cannot be destroyed by a battle or a card effect. That can be any card. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, any card whatsoever. And then you have Stardust Dragon, and anything that will be destroyed, you can just, send it to the banish and then return it to negate it. Or I think it was, no, it's sent to the graveyard. I think it was attributed. Sorry for the shaky camera. Did not expect that one. And that is it for the deck profile, guys. Hope you like it. And I try to, my friend here tried to make it as awesome as possible and the most useful as possible. And if you get to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the like button, make the like button your bitch. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out.